You saw me buy and fly the Origin 135C and give it a practical in-use review. Well, to continue my tour through some of these ships, I purchased an Anvil Pisces C8X and gave it a good run for a few weeks. The results surprised me a little. So let's take a look at this Pisces review. The Pisces series came out with the Carrack and was sized to work well as a shuttlecraft carried completely within a landing bay inside the Carrack. The Pisces comes in two versions, the Pisces C8, which you can consider the regular model, and the Pisces C8X, which is the Expedition model, and comes with extra firepower. I'm reviewing the C8X Expedition version. Even though the ship's concept is for that shuttlecraft use with the Carrack, by itself, the Pisces is a pretty capable ship, all on its own, and most people consider it well ranked as a starter ship, which is how I wanted to think about this ship and use it, as a starter ship, primarily on its own merits, and second, as a value comparison to other starter ships. The first thing that struck me about this ship is how small it is. I think it's about the tiniest ship I've flown. It might just be the low profile, but even in use, it would fly in and fit in very tight spots right up next to the outposts, and it had an unexpected feel. It actually took a little getting used to being so close to buildings and such, but this was good. The Pisces turned out to be an excellent ship for delivery missions, which I think is one of the best ways for a new player in a starter ship to get familiar with the game. Running deliveries gets you used to the ship controls and basic character functions. You learn how to land. Well, land it well, and get that experience of visiting multiple locations and environments, which is a big part of the current Star Citizen experience. And the Pisces does this really well. It has great acceleration and was able to burn into and out of the planet atmospheres, which, when you're running deliveries, is essential for fast completion. In addition to that part I mentioned about landing close to the outpost entrances. Now, I do generally like to slow roll the game and enjoy the doing as much as the completion, but going quick is still good. It may not seem like a few feet makes a big difference when you're landing and carrying in and out boxes, and I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's not a make or break quality. But if you land at a location and a windy storm is brewing, your character's movement can slow to barely a crawl, so every foot can make a difference. I also liked the 4-point landing gear that was widely spaced on each corner of the ship. It gave that feeling of being really stable and sturdy, and I imagine for a new player that's still getting used to the ship leveling out and trying to land it, it would give them a nicer margin of error to land on a corner and still be able to get the ship set down without banging it up too bad. Inside, the ship had ample space to sit those delivery boxes, either in the spaces used for cargo or even along the sides of the entranceway. Cargo-wise, it holds 4 SCU of cargo, and I did slap on a few extra coins of profit moving a little cargo while doing the deliveries. Cargo hauling just always feels good, no matter the size or profit. What was really interesting and potentially really advantageous about this ship was the 2 jump seats. CIG has said that as more force reactions and physics come into the game, people riding in ships will need to be seated or risk some serious injury. Now, these 2 seats make a lot of sense for this ship's concept as a shuttlecraft down to the surface of a planet, an away team as it were, or short excursions to some sort of destination. But these seats will likely have a use long before true exploration mechanics. With CIG working on AI pathing and with plans for passenger transport missions, this Pisces could really stand out amongst the starter ships as an ideal one for doing those. Even the Origin 300 ships don't really have a passenger seat. I doubt AI passengers will decide to take travel naps in the beds. or take up a role as a free turret gunner. Or actually, it's worse than that. They'd either be paying you as a paying passenger or taking up a seat that might be needed by somebody else. Another interior feature I really liked were the 6 wraparound MFD displays, all embedded in the console. It's completely a personal preference, but I like them better than the holographic displays. I don't hate the holographs, but I just like these better. I just hope they stay when this ship gets a little rework, and it will undoubtedly get some sort of rework. There were labeled compartments for all the ship's components, but the Pisces doesn't have any of the doors that open for component access, ramp controls, and things like that. So it's going to get some rework to at least include component access. What it does have though component-wise is a respectable set of size 1 items, with 2 military C-grade coolers, a grade C military power plant, a grade C civilian quantum drive, and an interesting stealth grade C shield generator. I say interesting because it was this mix of military, civilian, and stealth that I thought was interesting. It got me to think about different setups for this ship. Maybe all stealth if wanting to scout a dangerous area. Maybe all civilian for those passenger transport missions. Now, performance-wise, the manufacturer can have as much or more to do with performance than the item's grade. But regardless of the type or grade, there's a lot of upgrade options here for this ship because of its multi-role use. Weapon-wise, it comes with 4 size 1 guns, 2 on gimbals and 2 are fixed on the wings. Now, before you get all excited about what you might have heard about in swapping out gimbals for an upsized gun, these gimbals are size 1, so they'll only be swappable for a size 1 gun, same as what it already has, which is different than the Origin 135C I reviewed last time, where these size 2 weapons were on size 3 gimbals, allowing you to take off the gimbals and go with a size 3 fixed weapon. For the skilled fighter pilot, of course. Price-wise, I think this ship is ranked pretty fairly in the lineup of starter ships. It's $15 more than the base Aurora MR, and $10 less than the stellar Avenger Titan, which I still think takes the #1 spot for the best starter ship value. If you throw one of my other favorites in there for the Origin 315P, you can see this nice scalar dollar amount. And of course, there's other starter ships all scattered around in these price ranges, but I think it's fairly priced. I only wish it had one thing. Among all 4 of these ships, it's the only one without a bed. Even the 135C, which ranked below the 315P in my last video, had a bed. I can't help but think that having a bed to log out at will, without having to get back to a station, will be a huge convenience. Yes, I know, right now you can just run from your spawn point at a ship terminal, do a free, quick ship claim, and you're back at where you left off. But even if part of CIG's plans come to fruition, that won't be the way of the future.
The way of the future.
So I think a bed is important. I always like logging out and picking up exactly where I left off, even now in the game. And yes, it does work almost every time. But the lack of a bed is really the only significant drawback I could find with this ship. If you're a new player and this ship caught your eye over the base Aurora or Mustang, I don't think you'll be disappointed. I spent about 3 weeks using it exclusively, and it was good at doing several jobs. I will say I didn't find it as fun as some of the other ships I've flown, and I'm not even sure what I can quantify exactly for what constitutes fun, but when I went to a cave and explored with it, it felt really good, as if its role as a small scout ship had finally been fulfilled. If you can get past the lack of a bed for logout purposes, the jump seats for that future gameplay might offset the lack of the bed by providing an ability that other ships may not accommodate. Now, that passenger transport and the missions for it isn't a reality yet, And you should always be cautious in Star Citizen about banking on plans, which can change. But that passenger thing aside, it's a nice ship. It flies well. It's very capable in several roles. Fits in other ships about as easy or easier than anything else because of its size. And it's priced reasonably. This ship gets a thumbs up. And I'm going to continue gathering in-game money and progressing through the lineup of some of these smaller ships that I've only flown occasionally and give them a good shakedown in practical use and tell you the results. Till next time, take care, and I'll be talking to you later.